Hey everybody, Backpacker Luke here, and today we're going to be doing a slightly different kind of video than I would usually do just because I'm sitting at my desk instead of like standing like you kind of usually see me doing. But just because of what I need to be doing for this video, it makes sense for me to be sitting at my desk because we're going to be kind of like working here. So that's why I'm doing it like this. What we're going to be going over today is basically when we're talking about trail navigation and navigating on the trail and sort of having redundancy and those types of things with like your itinerary and your physical map. So when you're backpacking and going on a trip or whatever it is, you should always have not just a GPS, but you should also have like a physical map with you, just in case the GPS kind of goes on the fritz or you lose battery or whatever it is. So you should always have like a backup, which is like a paper map. And you should also have a paper map in your car that you've parked at the trailhead with your itinerary on it, so that if you go missing or if you don't show up like you're supposed to somewhere, people can go look at that map or find your car and then see your itinerary and your trail kind of itinerary and where you're supposed to be. So what we're going over today is a really simple way to do that. It's a really budget way. And so yeah, we'll just get right into it. So like I said, what we're going to be going over today is how to basically set up your paper map so that it is waterproof and just sort of wear and tear proof while it's in your pack. And also always make sure to make a duplicate of the trail map, the physical one, and then leave it in your car at the trailhead as well, so that everyone knows how to contact you and what your route is and kind of what your itinerary is for the trail. And I'll explain this more in detail a little bit later. But this is the one that I used for hiking the Uinta Highline Trail, the UHT in Utah. So I'm just using this as an example. So what I always do is I use Gaia GPS to print off my maps. So I make the trail and I save the maps to my phone usually, or whatever it is, could be the website. And I save it, then I print it out. In this case, it's on an 11 by 17 sheet, but you can do a 8.5 by 11 or whatever size you really want to. But essentially you're just printing it out. And then what I'll do is actually map out where my campsites are going to be each day roughly. So I know it can kind of change as your trip goes on, but I map out basically where I'm supposed to be at the end of each day and the mileage between them. So this gives me a really quick reference and easy guide. And I also make sure I have it out far enough where I can see the trails and the inroads and outroads and all that kind of stuff around me in case I need to bail out at any point. So I've marked my campsites, the beginning trailhead, the end trailhead, the campsites for each stop for the night, and then the mileage between them. And then on the back, I've also written my itinerary for the whole trip. So I wrote day one, all that kind of stuff, the trailhead, about where I'm going to be camping, to the mileage, and then I do the next day, which is from my last campsite to the next campsite, the mileage to that, and then that kind of thing all the way down. And I'll actually show you, I'm going to make improvements on this little design on my simple one that I get for you. So before I spend too long describing this all, I'm going to show you how to do it. So here we go. This is the complete version. What we're using here is the super cool map right here. That's going to be our example. And all you got to do, here's the big trick. I hope it didn't take me too long to get here in case this is all you need. Packing tape. This is all you need. So all you got to do is take packing tape, and this might get loud for a second, so I'm sorry. All you do is keep it on a kind of a hard, flat surface. And I basically go, so this first line right here, half the tape is on the paper, half the tape is on the table, the desk that I'm using. I'll explain why I do that later. And then I also take it out past the paper to about here, and the same thing on the other side. So I'm just gonna do this real quick for you. Overlap it a little bit. You don't need much overlapping, but try to make it as smooth as you can because you're gonna want that later. So get rid of your air bubbles and all of that. Try to apply it as evenly as you can. I'm doing a terrible job. Oh boy. Oh, don't look at that. Goodness. All right, so keep going. Oh my gosh. That's awful. I'm trying to rush. This is terrible. Take more time when you do it. All right, so I've done one side. Then you're gonna peel it up, just like this, and then flip it over. And then you're gonna start taping on the other side and basically match your lines. Remember to overlap a little bit. You're gonna want that for the next part of this. And I missed a little spot right there, so I'm just gonna hit it again. And do this. And this. All right. There we this. And this. All right. So now I have tape on both sides, and it's just like that. So that's basically your lamination. Now, I'm going to show you sort of how I finish this off in just a second here. Next thing you're going to do is while you overlap is so that you can actually cut out a little bit easier, not overlap, while you come out past the edges here, is so when you're cutting the map, I like to leave a little bit of a laminated border along the side of the map. I don't know why, it's just something I like to do. I guess you could do it as close as possible, but for my peace of mind, I kind of end up leaving a little bit of an edge. I just think it looks cleaner somehow, and also in case something starts peeling, even though the tape really shouldn't peel, but I just know that it's completely waterproof without a doubt, because I actually have it out past the edge of the map a little bit. Because what you don't want is your map to get soaking wet in a rainstorm or whatever it is, and then you just have a useless soggy piece of paper you're carrying around with you. So cut this out. And there you go. In short, that is how you have a now completely waterproof map for basically just the cost of a printed piece of paper and a little bit of packing tape. So I just use the standard Scotch Tough Grip moving tape, packing tape, whatever you want to call it. And then, as I was going to describe later, is on the back here, excuse me, on the back here I have my itinerary written down. So what I actually have is the trailhead that I started on, then an itinerary of each of my days of the trail, of the camp spot I'm going to be at, and about how much mileage there is for each day. Then I have the trailhead B that would go down here, where day one is point A to point B, yada, yada. And then I have my emergency contact name and number. I have the date that I started my trip, the date that I should be ending my trip and getting back to my car, and then my phone number on here. So all the kind of important information you need to know just in case you go missing on the trail. Everybody knows how to find you, and you're exactly, they literally have a just day-by-day guide of where you're supposed to be, and you keep that in your car. So now you can, just like the map that I showed you, you can fold it up, you can really beat it up. This guy has been folded up and thrown into my storage stuff with all my other camping gear and backpacking gear, and it does just fine, and it's super tough and durable. So there you go. That's how you waterproof a map for basically nothing. Budget way to waterproof map. So there you have it. That's the way to waterproof a super cool map and do it really cheaply for basically the cost of some packing tape, scissors, and the paper that you're printing on. This is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, an A4, whatever way you want to call it. This is, it's called an A11. I don't know. But it's basically an 11 by 17 sheet of paper. So this is what I usually end up printing on, just because it gives me a little bit more room to work with a map and a little more detail on the map that I can see. But because you can kind of see the size difference there. But this is just something I learned a long time ago on how to cheaply waterproof paper. And I use it for every single backpacking trip I do. So I would recommend it. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.